Your entire way of life, our world as we know it, will completely stop without credit. And credit is based on confidence. And with what's coming and what's going to happen with, derivative contracts in the, couple quadrillion breaking, there's not going to be anything left standing except for gold and silver as money. There will be no money other than gold or silver that has not bankrupted, because that's the problem with fiat currencies. They're credit based, and when credit fails, so will the fiat currencies.
J.P. Morgan famously said this in his testimony before Congress in 1912. Gold is money. Everything else is credit. Gold prices rose to an all-time high on Friday as a cocktail of factors ranging from a weaker dollar, growing expectations for a U.S. interest rate cut in September, to geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, bolstered demand for bullion. Precious metals expert Bill Holter warns of a collapse of the credit system and emphasizes the vital role of precious metals. He predicts that only tangible assets like gold and silver will retain value if the credit-based financial system fails. According to the Bank of America Global Fund Manager Survey for August, 29% of investors rank the U.S. shadow banking sector, which involves non-bank financial intermediaries, as the most likely cause of a global credit crisis. In terms of safety, Holter advises getting your gold delivered and securely hiding it. He recommends keeping junk silver on hand and prefers storing assets in North Dakota for its independent banking system. Holter cautions against using major storage companies, suggesting private, non-bank vaults instead. In a world of political turmoil, gold is once again proving to be an unrivaled safe haven asset. Throughout history, gold has been a reliable store of value. For Americans, Holter predicts that gold eagles are pre-1933. Gold are the best choices, with junk silver being the top silver option. He emphasizes that junk silver offers the most security and recognition, warning that bars or generic coins may not be trusted in a crisis due to counterfeiting risks. Now, we present the clips of Bill Holter's insights from his recent interview. Before we continue to delve into this discussion, please subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates.
Your entire way of life, our world as we know it, will completely stop without credit. And credit is based on confidence. And with what's coming and what's going to happen with, derivative contracts in the, couple quadrillion breaking, there's not going to be anything left standing except for gold and silver as money. There will be no money other than gold or silver that has not bankrupted, because that's the problem with fiat currencies. They're credit based, and when credit fails, so will the fiat currencies. Gold is concerned, get your gold delivered to you and hide it somewhere. I mean, there's not too many people that are going to be able to buy more than, say, 2,000 or 3,000 ounces of gold. That's hideable. You can bury that. You can put it in your attic, put it in your basement, put it under, inside a potted plant. But once you're talking about silver, if you're talking about bigger money, even $500,000, trying to store $500,000 worth of silver, that's hard. You should definitely have junk silver on hand. I tell people they should have a minimum one bag per person in your household. But when you're talking bigger money, storage is an issue. I store in North Dakota. One reason I store, and there's two vaults that I use up there. One reason is that North Dakota has their own banking system. They're not part of the Federal Reserve System. So theoretically, you could never have a federal agent walk in and say, tell us who your customers are. And I'm probably talking out of school here, and I won't mention the company name or whatever, but the big storage companies that their names, those are easy targets. The government would only have to go to their headquarters and say, tell us who all your customers are and throw your doors open because we're confiscating everything. So I would look for, if you're going to store, I would look for a private non-bank vault that is not publicly traded, does not have a headquarters that the feds could go to and say, you've got 15, 20 different locations. Tell us who your customers are. If I'm speaking to Canadians, I would say buy gold maple leafs. And if you can find Canadian junk, which is very, very hard to find, you would want that. Your next best would be Canadian maple leafs. As an American, you want the coin of the realm. You want gold eagles or pre-1933 gold. And in silver, as it stands right now, for what possible reason would you buy any other form of silver right now? Because junk is basically the same price as bars or generic coin or whatever. A year ago, there was a $10 premium. So the premiums have evaporated. You're buying silver in basically its cheapest form. And by far and away, the form of junk is the absolute best form for an American to own. It's the smallest denomination. It can't be counterfeited. It's readily recognizable. And it's U.S. mint lineage. I mean, junk is the absolute best form for an American to own. And I don't know if I'm the largest broker in the country with junk silver on the books, but I'm definitely one of the 10 largest brokers in the country as far as getting junk silver in customers' hands. Because that's really all I've done since, I'm going to say 2017. And other than IRA accounts where you've got to do something that's 99.9, in which case I've done silver. I want the crappy bars. I want the crappy generics. Those are not going to trade. You will not be able to barter when this thing goes down because the other side of the transaction is going to look at it and say, how do I know this is real? Because they're easily counterfeitable.
During the interview, Bill Holter highlights a dramatic drop in commercial real estate values. Consequently, Holter emphasizes that the U.S.'s high debt-to-GDP ratio and broken judicial system resemble a banana republic. He expresses concern about potential market disruptions related to the upcoming election and the BRICS summit. The vice chairman of the BRICS Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Sameep Shastri, confirmed that developing countries no longer give importance to the U.S. dollar. The diplomat's strong words indicate that BRICS is serious about de-dollarization. The U.S. dollar could be in jeopardy if BRICS begins convincing other developing nations to follow its ideals. The next decade could decide whether the U.S. dollar will reign supreme or fall prey to the de-dollarization agenda. Despite market fluctuations, Holter emphasizes that holding gold or silver provides stability as they cannot go bankrupt. He predicts that selling 5% of gold annually since 2020 would leave you with more gold and increased financial value today. Let's get back to the interview.
Look at commercial real estate. Look at high-rise office buildings. Look at hotels. I mean, there was, and I can't remember where it was. I posted it about 2 weeks ago. There was an office building, and I believe it was in New York City, that actually just changed hands at about 6% of what it traded at in 2006. And the losses were about $200 million. Somebody eats that. That doesn't just get swept under a rug, and it's somebody's balance sheet is ultimately going to reflect that $200 million loss. And you're talking about, call it $1 trillion market just in commercial alone. So where we stood a year ago or 15 months ago when those banks went under, I mean, we're on much less solid ground. I mean, the whole system is literally trying to stand in quicksand. And then we can add one more thing we can add a lot to it. You can add the fact that we have an election in November, and if it looks like the powers that are in place now are not going to be able to cheat enough to stay in power, there will be a false flag. Markets will outright close. The other thing between now and the election is the huge BRICS meeting in the middle of October. And basically what that is the world telling the United States and the U.S. dollar to piss off. We don't want to play in your sandbox anymore because you're bullies, you're liars, you're cheaters, and a contract means nothing because you do whatever you're going to do. I mean, look at what's happened with Russia. We've confiscated 300 billion, and we're already borrowing small portions of that to fund Ukraine. The fact that the U.S. now is on books 130% debt to GDP, and our judicial system is broken. We are, as the reserve currency of the world, we are the definition of a banana republic. I would say don't be smug. To me, stability is having your money in either gold or silver because it cannot go bankrupt, and you can always sell portions of your gold and silver to live on. I mean, if you go back to the year 2020, gold has risen, 9.7 or 9.9% per year. If since 2020 you sold 5% of your gold along the way to live on, you'd still have a bunch of gold left. You'd have more in dollars today than you would have had back in 2020 because gold has gone up faster than you're taking out 5%. And I personally use silver as a bank account. I vault it. I mean, if I get a big check or whatever, I buy silver. Whether it goes up or down or goes sideways or whatever, I don't care. If I need a chunk of money, I'll liquidate it. But I know that I cannot wake up tomorrow morning and my metal's gone. It's bankrupt because you can't go bankrupt. Gold and silver are wealth. Gold and silver are money themselves.
All fiat currencies will collapse, while a flight to safety is at the core of gold's demand. When it comes to safe havens, gold has consistently outperformed U.S. government bonds since the 1990s. The continued de-dollarization efforts by global economic blocs could further bolster the value of precious metals. How will you adjust your investment strategy as the global financial system faces challenges and the increasing significance of gold and silver? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to support our channel and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos. See you in the next video.